I've never been a big fan of this idea that a country is divided if people are voting for starkly different political parties. I've always thought, hey, that's just democracy. That's what people do. I mean, if you had everybody voting for the one party, 100%, well, we call those dictatorships, we call those rigged elections. I mean, it's not that big of a deal that in the United States, you've always got about 50% Republican, 50% Democrat. And anybody who has friends and family members, people they know in the United States, you probably know people who voted for both parties, and you probably think, come on, people are people. Most of them are moderate and good-natured. It's not that big of a deal. So I always said, give me a break about this divided nation stuff. And I certainly thought that about Canada. I'm now starting to have some doubts about that, though. These federal election results, you look at the map, you look at the breakdowns, you look at where votes grew for which parties, where they shrunk, and you go, it is true. We are becoming increasingly divided. And we are developing something similar to the bi-coastal elite phenomenon they have in the United States, where the Democratic vote is shaved out of most of the eastern seaboard, New York and those adjacent areas, and then out west with California and the Electoral College votes over there. Something similar happening here in Canada, where you've got the British Columbia area, and then you got the GTA, which, it's not quite the eastern seaboard, but similar kind of idea. You got the GTA, and then you've got the Atlantic provinces, and then the greater Montreal area. And that is the key to the Liberal victory, especially the GTA. And then you have the Liberals completely shut out of Alberta and Saskatchewan. Now, all of that is something we've gotten used to seeing in Canadian politics over the last couple decades, but it has gotten heightened, it has gotten increased. And look at some of the increases in the actual riding results. Now, I saw breakdowns of where conservative support grew, where conservative support dropped. And it's interesting to see that in places where they are already popular and where they already win, that's where the Conservatives got the most amount of their gains in those ridings like Alberta ridings or in Conservative strongholds. And then you take ridings like in downtown Toronto, for instance, which I know the Conservatives are never expected to win, but it's still instructive to see how much vote they got, because they usually get a few thousand votes or more in those ridings. Well, they have lost 10, 20% support in those ridings. So the GTA, downtown Toronto, getting even more liberal than ever before. Calgary, Alberta, Saskatchewan getting more conservative than ever before. Now, there's going to be a lot of breakdown in the days and weeks, months, even years to come about what all of this means. But it's not a good sign. We're seeing Wexit trending. We're seeing Alberta separation trending. These are very real things. And I think if Justin Trudeau and Jagmeet Singh do one thing when they sit together, I hope it's not them thinking, how can we do more about climate change, which they just go on and on about already as it is. How can we do more of these things that, quite frankly, there is not consensus on and there are stark divides on them. Instead, they need to look at the unifying issues and move forward on those. They need to seriously sit down and listen to Alberta. They need to talk with Jason Kenney and say, let's try and figure some things out here. Unfortunately, I'm not optimistic that's going to happen, but that's what we need right now. Are those divides? Well, they may only increase.